Hey guys, Cody with Princess Craft RV. Come along with me today as we go through the Lance 825 truck camper, and I'm going to show you a little bit of live the Lance life. All right, let's talk about your electric jacks real quick. This is equipped with the 4220 Happy Jacks, all electronically controlled by a remote. I will show you how to do that, but if you do have a failure there, these can be cranked manually. A couple things have to happen to make that happen. First, we're going to pop this cap off of the port for your manual crank jack. It's going to go right into there. The other thing that's going to happen is we're going to take this lever and flip it down. This applies to all four corners. If you do have a failure, you just follow those procedures and then you can use the hand crank to crank the jack up or down. On the front of the camper, it does have some rub strips here as well as bumps. These are going to come in and touch the front of the truck bed to let you know that you're basically all the way in there and protect the bed of the truck. Lance uses a proprietary cord here to plug into the truck, so you do have to have truck side wiring installed for this to plug into, but this is proprietary to Lance. It's going to do all of your running lights on the camper, tail lights, any operations that are needed there, as well as provide a 12-volt charge line to recharge the batteries on the camper while you're traveling down the road. On the side here, our propane is in this compartment. It's one single 20-pound cylinder. Can be exchanged or refilled. Let me show you how to get it out of this compartment. First thing we need to do is go ahead and make sure that our service valve is closed. It's going to be all the way to the right. You don't need to crank down on it real tight. Just turn it till it stops. And then we're going to go ahead and remove our service hose from it. Then we're going to pop this clamp open just by pulling up on this side. It's going to pop open. And it should pretty much fall apart, but if it doesn't, we're just going to separate the two halves, and then we can pull our cylinder out of here, tip it down from the top, push the bottom back in, and that will allow you to get this out. Now again, this is a standard 20-pound cylinder, so this can be refilled or exchanged, whatever's available to you or whatever's most convenient for you. Just make sure anytime you're transporting a cylinder like this that it's in the upright position. Putting it back in is going to be just the opposite. We do have to work our way around the clamp, so you're going to want to try to push those out of the way. Put your bottom end pretty far back so we can tilt this into place. Once we get it all the way in there, I like to go ahead and hook my hose up before I do the clamp. That way if I need to turn the cylinder or anything, I can. Once we get that done, we can go ahead and reconnect this. We're just going to fit this T-post into the receiver, and we're going to snap that shut. Now we can go ahead and turn our service valve back on our cylinder all the way to the left if we're going to be using this. If not, you can leave it closed. The compartment's going to be secured closed with two thumb latches on that, no locks. Just above that, we're going to have the lower fridge vent for your Dinette refrigerator. This little hose that's coming out of here is normal. It is also normal to see condensation drip out of that from time to time. Let me show you a couple things that is back in here. Over here on the left is going to be our 110 power cord. This is going to be your control board behind this black cover. If you're working remotely with somebody over the phone, you may need to know where that is and gain access to it. This is going to be your manual shut-off valve right here for the propane, for the gas valve, if you do need to shut off the gas flow for this. And then this whole silver chamber and everything over here is going to get hot while the refrigerator's in operation, so don't burn yourself. But it is a good idea to inspect this whole area for insect nests or anything like that. Now there are screens, insect screens that are made that fit into these louvers to help keep flying insects out. We're mainly trying to keep out wasps and dirt daubers, as they do like to build their nests in there, which can cause operational issues for you. Now to get this cover back on, we're going to put these 4 tabs in across the top. Push this in, line up these black clips. They need to snap all the way in. And then when you get it all the way in, you do want to turn these and lock them. So they should be like that. That way it doesn't fly off going down the road. Next to that's going to be our vent hood vent. This does have to pop open for use, so you're just going to put your thumbs under here and pop this open. And that way while the vent fan is running, it can actually allow everything out. Just remember to snap it back shut when you get ready to travel. It's also a good idea to close it probably when you're done with it to help keep insects or anything like that out. Now just below that, we're going to have our potable water tank fill or our onboard tank, freshwater tank fill. Two ways you can do this. You can just put your water hose in it, fill it up until the water gushes back out at you. It's going to tell you the tank is completely full. If you don't want to carry a full tank, put your water hose in, turn it on, and watch the monitor panel and shut it off at whatever level you do want to carry with you. Now this one is secured closed with a key that works on the camper. It's going to bring us to our 6-gallon gas electric water heater. There is a drain plug on this. It's going to be down here in the bottom left-hand corner. There's typically going to be a drain plug in here. It is going to be plastic or Teflon. I highly recommend that you keep some extras on hand. That way, when you pull it out to drain it and you go to put it back in, if you do get it cross-threaded or it drips or anything like that, you have some spares on hand to put in. A couple other things in here. Our burn chamber is going to be over here in the bottom right. Again, we're trying to keep insects out. They'll get in here and build nests, which can cause operational issues on the propane side. So inspecting in here, inspecting in this tube, or a little bit of compressed air through here to clear anything that may be obstructing periodically is a good idea. Center top, we're going to have your pop-off valve, which is a safety device. It's also a good way to check and see if your water heater has water in it. You want to make sure your water heater is full before you fire it on gas or electric. Make sure you don't burn anything up. Again, you can put a flying insect screen on this vent cover, on this vent here, to keep out the wasps and dirt daubers again. It's going to bring us to our Dinette furnace exhaust. Again, another insect screen can go on this to keep flying insects out of there. This one, it can be difficult to repair if they get in there and build a nest, so I highly recommend one on here. But while you're using your furnace, this is going to get hot, so don't burn yourself, don't cover it, put anything in front of it. If you're camping with little children, make sure they're not reaching up, burning their fingers or anything else on it. Our 30 amp 110 short cord. Let me show you how this works. We're going to have 3 receivers on the cord end, and we're going to have 3 prongs on the camper end, and we're going to match up our L shapes here. And we're just going to give that a little twist to the right, and that's going to give it the initial lock on. And then we're going to use this lock ring on here, and it's going to snug down. And you want to snug that all the way down so we get a good snug connection here so we don't get any overheating or arcing that may cause operational issues. All right, so directly below our power cord underneath the wing area, we're going to find an access port that just pops open. And inside you'll see it says park and satellite. Park is going to be park cable. So if you want to watch cable, you're going to hook up to that one. If you're going to use a portable satellite, you're going to hook up to the one that says SAT. Exterior shower. It's going to have hot and cold mixing valves here. This is just going to pull out. The hose is going to store back in underneath. But to use water here, once you get your water turned on there, you're just going to push the lever down. It's going to allow the water to flow out of the shower head. When you're done with it, you just push it down and the lever should pop up and no more water should flow. Don't forget to turn your water off here when you're done with your outside shower. And when you winterize, make sure you don't forget to winterize this. Since it is exterior, it can be very easy for it to freeze up. To store it, just fish your hose back in there, seat the head in there like it's supposed to. Make sure you don't accidentally compress that lever. If you do, undo it before you close the lid on the cover here. Couple storage compartments here on the side. That's really about it on that. Right? Yep. No lights, no nothing. Okay. Let's move under the wing area here. Show you a couple things. Just back here in the corner are going to be 2 water connections. The top one's your white connection. That's going to be for your city water connection. If you're going to be working with a water hose and a water pressure regulator, that's where you're going to hook that up. The bottom one is going to be black. That's going to be your black tank flush. So when you're done camping or you're just getting the camper ready for storage, you're going to hook up to that with a dedicated black-gray flush hose. You do not want to use the same freshwater hose that you use to provide fresh water to the camper. Hook it up there, make sure your black water dump valve is open, and turn the water on, let it run for about 5 or 10 minutes and let everything flush out, and that's going to give you good and clean. Now you do have a couple of anchor points under here, which is what we're going to use for running your turnbuckles to the tie downs on the truck. Okay, moving on to the back of the camper here. A couple things, you've got the two bright lights up there at the top. They can be turned on and off. They also come on with the reverse on the truck, so when you're backing up, they'll come on. We've got your sewer hose storage compartment here. Now, you're not gonna fit a super high quality hose in here. These are not very deep, so most of your higher end hoses are not gonna collapse enough to fit in there. But you can use it for storing something else, and it is just a thumb latch there to keep it closed. Over here, we do have your jumper port. Gonna be behind this easy charge cover here. Just pops open, and inside you'll find your positive and negative connections. Red's gonna be positive, black's negative. So if your battery goes dead in the camper, or you're just trying to charge the batteries, instead of having to dig everything out since they go in a compartment in the camper, you can hook up right here, and this will allow you to charge your batteries or jump power to it if your battery is low, something like that. Just gives you an easier access port for that purpose. Got a 110 outlet out here. So we're gonna have a vent here. This is gonna be your door holdback. It's just gonna clip into the receiver there on the back of the door when it's open. Now this compartment is how you're gonna gain access to your dump valves and everything. Keyed lock and a thumb lock. When you're ready to open it, you just push it up, and this magnet right here will hold it open for you. But inside, we're gonna have a handful of things going on. We're gonna have these clear tubes that can come out here that have drain valves on them. Little quarter turn valves here in line on them. Two of these are gonna be one's gonna be cold water, one's gonna be your freshwater tank, and then the red one here is gonna be your hot water low point drain. So that's what those are gonna be. They're all freshwater drains. On the left here is going to be your gray water dump valve. Going to be the gray handle up in here. That's going to be for dumping your sink and shower water. On the right's going to be your black handle. That's going to be for dumping your toilet water or your black water. This will be the one that you want to keep open when you're using the sewer flush connection. Now, right below underneath the camper is where you'll hook up your sewer hose. So you'll pop the cap off here, hook up with the bayonet fitting on your sewer hose, run it over to the dump, and do all your draining, and you'll be good to go. Now just be careful when you're in here. There are some wires that run to your tanks and things, but you don't pull any of those loose that may cause operational issues. License plate's gonna go here. If your license plate on the back of your truck cannot be seen per state laws, it needs to be moved up here so you do stay in compliance with law. Entry step just folds up and stores. Bottom step's gonna fold up onto the top step, pick up underneath, just kind of work that back up in there, and it's gonna store. To get it to pull it back out for use, just pull it out and flip that step down. Now let's go over the awning real quick on this unit. It is a manual awning, so let me show you how all that's gonna work. A couple things. We're gonna wanna loosen our travel knobs on the back of each leg. A little black knob back here on the back of each leg. You'll wanna loose, just loose. They don't need to be like out or anything like that, just loose. And then we're gonna unlock our legs. There's a lock on each side. You're gonna push up right here on the tab and flip that out. Do it on each leg. Push up on this tab, flip these out. Make sure they're all the way out so they're not in the way. And then this is gonna be your travel lock. So this is how we actually lock and unlock the awning. We're gonna actually take this and we're gonna push it up. And you can see it's moving that piece up there at the awning. So all the way up is gonna be unlocked. So that's where we're gonna want it to pull this awning out for use. And then we're just gonna use this strap right here. And we're gonna pull this out, and you hear that ratcheting, so you can stop anywhere along the way, and this is gonna lock in place. So you can pull it all the way out, or you cannot, totally up to you. Due to space requirements here, that's as far as I'm gonna go. Now we can take and we can adjust these legs up and down for clearance height. By doing that, we're gonna just tip these handles out, and that'll allow us to slide the legs up. And now we can take these inner legs here and slide these all the way up, and you should hear them lock in. Now once you get there, you can give this just a little bit of a pull down and then snug this up, and that's gonna help keep tension on your fabric. The cool thing about these manual awnings is they're very easy to set to a tilt. So you can put a little tilt on them. So if it's got a really light rain, you can tilt them and the rainwater will run right off of them. Now, if it gets windy or the rain picks up too much, you definitely want to put these away because the wind will take them with them. The other thing that you can do is detach these from the wall right here. So you can detach these and you can run these to the ground. And you can kind of set it up like an awning, if you will. Again, this leg can go all the way out and be used to hold all that, but you would have to anchor the foot to something so it doesn't move around. But that's another option for you there. Okay, now to put the awning away, again, loosen your travel knobs. And right out here on the end of the awning cap on each side, you'll see a little metal tab that sticks through. That's going to be how this inner leg locks into that. So you just pull it over and that's going to release the leg. Make sure this slides all the way down. You want the inner legs all the way down. Okay, once those are down, then you want to go ahead and lower your legs back down to regular travel height. Now, if you have this all the way out, you may have to either do this with somebody, one person on each leg, or stagger it a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there until you get all the way down so you don't get it too much of an angle. Okay, so to get this to retract, you're gonna pull down on your strap and hold a little bit of tension on it. Now you can unlock the awning at either position, whatever works for you. You can do it here at the remote lock lever, or if you can reach it, you can just reach up here and do it here as well. Whatever works, but hang on to the strap because as soon as you unlock that, this is gonna roll back up to the camper. It's got like a big awning spring. It's got like a big garage door spring running in the awning, if you'll think of that, to help retract this back to the camper. So just hang on to the strap and this thing's gonna roll up on its own. All the way up. Once it gets all the way up, we're gonna latch these latches back in, and we're gonna snug up our lock knobs down here. And that is how we use a manual awning on the Lance 825. Okay guys, so the Happy Jack remote for this is gonna be very easy to operate. First things first is how to turn it on, and this wakes up the whole system. It's gonna be the center two buttons and then the top two buttons, and that's gonna wake up the board on the camper. Now you can use these buttons in any manner that you would like, pretty much. The center two buttons are gonna be all four jacks together, all up or all down. And then you can run these individually. You can run the fronts together, the rears together, sides together. The only thing you cannot do is cross camper. They will not run that way. On this camper, the accessory is not used. And the only other thing is going to be underneath this cover is where a phone cord can plug in. So if you're having some operational issues, you pop that out, plug that cord into here, and then inside the back door here, right next to the switch here, you'll see the receiver for that. And then if you're having some RF interference or anything like that, you can get past that with that cord. And it's a curly Q cord, so you can get a little bit of reach on it to make sure your camper is lifting as necessary. Now, anytime you're operating your jacks, you always want to make sure that the front doesn't get lower than the rear. That could get you into a tip over position. So you want to make sure you're going as level as possible. If not that, at least the front just a little high, and watch your side to side as you go. And once you get it where you need it, just level it out and you're good to go. All right, let's go check out the inside. Coming in the door of your Lance 825, right down here to the left, we're gonna find your fire extinguisher. This thing's gonna put out fires if you've got one. To make sure it's gonna stay operational, that little green button there on top, you're gonna wanna push that down, make sure it pops back up. If it does, it should be good to go if you have to fight a fire. Just above that, we're gonna find kind of all your switches on this camper. First one here at the bottom is gonna be your main entry camp light. It's just right there over your head coming in the door by the microwave is gonna be the only light that switch operates. See? All right, just above that, we're gonna have 4 more switches. One of them is gonna be red and it says docking lights. That's for our 2 big bright white lights that are on the back of the camper. The other 3 switches are going to be for all kind of your porch style lights. Left, right, and rear is going to correspond to where they're located on the camper. Now these are 3 position switches. Dead center is going to be off for all 3. If you turn it to the up position, that's going to be an amber light. If you turn it to the down position, it's going to be a white light. So you can choose on those what you would like. Just above that, we do have a storage compartment. And on the right is going to be your bathroom. Now, this has a turn latch on it to make sure it doesn't slide open while you're traveling. Make sure that that is latched. This is the latch position. You should not be able to open that. Highly stress that to you. Make sure it's latched when you get ready to travel. Otherwise, this door will bang around back here. But when you're ready to use it, you can unlatch it and slide that pocket door open. And inside, we are going to find your bathroom. It's going to be a foot flush toilet. So the way that works, the foot pedal's right there on the front of the toilet. You push that halfway down. That's going to put just water in your bowl. Now you're going to want probably about half a bowl of water before you do anything. Once you're done there, you can push that pedal all the way down. The blade at the bottom is going to open up and everything's going to go down into the black tank. Now with toilets and RVs, you want to make sure you're using plenty of water. You want to make sure you're using RV toilet tissue, and you want to make sure you're using some type of tank treatment to control waste digestion and odors. A couple other things we've got in here. We do have a towel bar up there at the top that you can hang wet laundry on, towels, and things like that. We do have a fart fan there that's switch powered. You just open that up and there is a little black switch there that'll turn it on. And as you will see, there are snaps on both of these in here on the vent and on the skylight. So Lance does provide shade covers for those. That's part of their 4 seasons package to help with insulating properties in the cold and hot weather. Now, as far as your shower goes, it's a single handle shower for mixing down here. So you're just going to turn that lever till you find your appropriate temperature. And your shower head has a rotary head on it, so you can either have full flow or you can shut that down to minimal flow to help conserve. Now you do have a shower curtain in here that does need to be pulled over the door since the door is wood. You want to protect that from water so it doesn't get damaged. Now as far as the light goes in the bathroom, it's going to be the light switch right here. Says bath light on it, amber lit. So that's going to be the single LED light that's in your bathroom. That pretty much covers that. Just make sure again that you do get it latched when you get ready to travel. Now in your entry door, there is a shade here that can be pulled down for privacy or light darkening. You're just going to pull this down. It's going to latch into this little plastic receiver right down here at the bottom. Just have to fish that in there and it just stays down. Now it won't stay down unless you get it latched in, so make sure you do that if you do want to use that. Coming up to our kitchen area, just a couple things going on here. Actually quite a bit, but let's check it out. Our light here has a 3-position switch, but all the way to the left and center is an off position. So all the way to the right will be the only position that that light operates, and it will be on. Now for your sink here, again, hot and cold water with your knobs. You can rotate your spout for purpose. And then you do have a drain here. This just tightens down into the sink or into the drain here to stop water flow. If you just leave it loose, you know, you can leave it slightly loose to catch larger debris. We don't want food particles and stuff going down into the gray tank. This will help control odors and things coming out of there if you don't have any food going down into it. Your sink cover there is going to give you more counter space. It can double as a cutting board. Now below your sink, we do have a couple of drawers that have Lance brochures in them for your liking. These have the soft close guides on them, so once they reach a certain point, they just close nice and easy. You're going to be provided a silverware tray there as well. Furnace output's all going to come from this guy right here. So it's going to get pretty warm in here pretty fast. That is a propane only furnace, so you do have to have propane and 12-volt power to make all of that work. Now overhead, we do have another storage cabinet overhead. We've got your Jensen media center here. So this is going to play your DVDs. It's going to be your AM FM radio. It's going to Bluetooth pair with your smartphone so you can stream your own music to it. It's got a USB charger on it. It's got auxiliary input. It pretty much does everything that you would need it to do in a camper. Above that, you're going to find your convenience center, or your monitor panel is another name for it. And these 4 buttons over here, battery, fresh, black, and gray, will be how we monitor levels on the level gauge here. Just by pushing the button, the corresponding LED should light up. Now the other 3 switches that are on that are going to be for your water pump and then the 2 operational sides of your water heater, whether it be gas or electric. So the water pump switch, if you're dry camping or you're traveling down the road and you've got water in your freshwater tank, you can flip that switch on. You'll see there that the pump light's going to come on, that light's going to stay on. But once everything gets pressurized, that will provide pressure to your water system. Now you only need to have that on if you're using the water out of the freshwater tank. If you're hooked up with the water hose, you do not need that. Below that, we're going to find your water heater switch. The one in the middle there is for the gas side. That gas light will come on as long as everything works and stays on as it should. No other lights should come on. If you do have a malfunction in the ignition process, this DSI fault light may come on. A lot of the times we usually see that because, hey, I didn't light because there's air in the line. I haven't used the propane in a while. Cycle the switch off, cycle it back on, run through it a few times. It should ignite. If not, it's probably time to call your service center. The one below that's going to be our water heater, and you can see here it says electric. So if you're plugged into 110 shore power, you want to heat your water on the electric side, flip that switch on again, the electric light there will come on and stay on, and it will heat your water with the electric heating element, just like in your home. Now you can flip both of these on for faster recovery times if you got a lot of people that need to cycle through showers, or you just like hot showers. You're still only going to be limited to 6 gallons, but it will recover faster. Microwave over here. High point microwave. It's going to kind of be a convection, not a convection, like a hot plate style. No rotary table, anything like that. So just set your time, do your stuff, and let it go. Bring us down to our vent hood. It's going to have a light as well as a fan on it. Again, with the vent hood fan, the flap on the outside does need to be opened up to allow proper ventilation for that thing to work correctly. And our 2-burner cooktop. To get this thing to work, we're just going to turn this over to the light position. We're going to use our stick lighter, light whichever one we're trying to use, get it lit, turn it to our flame setting that we desire, and do our cooking. Now remember, this is designed for RV use, so we don't want to bring our giant skillets from home. We want something smaller to use on this so we don't generate too much heat. Now this can be removed for cleaning by taking these 2 little thumb screws out. They do have Phillips head slots on them, so if you can't get them by finger, you can use a screwdriver. You can pull this off, pop the knobs off, take those off, and you can get under there to clean underneath that. Let's go ahead and talk about our Dometic thermostat before we get too far along. This is going to control your air conditioner, your thermostat, or just your ventilation fan from your air conditioner if you so choose it to do that. Mode switch is going to be how we select through our modes. And this will be how we select our fan speed or our temperature set, our desired temperature set. So if we touch the mode button, you can see here the first thing that's going to come up is just be fan. And here we can cycle through auto, high, or low fan. Next will be cold. You'll see the snowflake. You'll use your up and down arrows to set your desired temp. And you'll see right here, auto fan is selected. And if you push it again, that will bring us to furnace. Again, desired temperature set with the arrows and auto fan. We highly recommend leaving it in auto fan. Let it do what it needs to do. Just select the mode that you want, whether it be AC or furnace, and set your desired room temperature and let it do its thing from there. So underneath our cooktop, there is an access panel that opens up, and inside is going to be the backside of our water heater. And it's also going to give us access to our water pump. Now there are some valves in here that you're going to need to know for winterization purposes. So the first one's going to be this one right here. This goes to the water heater, and they give you a tag right here if you can't remember which position it's supposed to be in for bypass. It's just a single valve, so it makes life really easy. Right now, with it pointing to this hose, this line right here in the middle, that's going to allow the water to come in and just bypass the water heater. If you actually want to use the water heater, you're going to have to turn this valve. It needs to be in line with that lower line, just like that. And that's going to allow the water to go into the water heater and be used. So this is normal operation, and this is bypass or winterization mode, which is what you'll want to do when you're going to winterize it, or you want to drain the water heater out and clean the water system out so you're not wasting all that time and energy filling up the water heater. Now the other thing we're going to need to know about is going to be this hose right here, and all the way in the back is going to be that white handled valve back there in the back. It says winterize and normal on it, or use, something like that. You'll have to turn that lever for normal use or winterization mode in order to use this clear plastic tube here. In normal mode, it's going to pull water from the fresh water tank. When you put it into winterize mode, it's going to allow you to have your water come through this, or I'm sorry, to pull from this clear tube. So what you would do is when you put that to winterize with your water heater bypass, this will go down into your jug of RV antifreeze. You're going to use your water pump, you're going to turn that switch on, and it's going to suck that antifreeze right through this line and go to all your faucets and fixtures. You run them all until they run pink. And when all that's done, don't forget your outside shower, you will be winterized. Pretty simple process when all the valves and everything are in place. It's pretty quick. Doesn't take a long time, but if you have any other questions on that, hit us up. It can be overwhelming or confusing, so just ask us some questions. We'll walk you through it. Just underneath the radio here on the bottom of the overhead cabinet, you will find a GFCI outlet. And all of your windows in this camper open the same way and have the same style, home style shades, mini blinds here that can come down. They can latch into the wall here, onto the wall for travel, so they're not banging around, getting bent up. Make sure if you're going to travel with them down that they do get latched in. Now to open your windows, it's crank style. So just flip this little piece out right here, and then you can crank your windows open as such, and you can crank them closed. Okay, that's going to bring us into our dinette area. Let's talk about all our ceiling lights real quick, other than the one that's on a switch. They're going to each be switched individually here with that little switch right there on the side. That's how you're going to turn your other 3 ceiling lights on and off in the camper. But let's cover our dinette here, how to make this into our alternate bed, and some compartments and things that are underneath this that you may need to gain access to. Now, to make this into our alternate bed, remove our tabletop. So we're just going to work this off of here. I like to set this out of the way. Then we're going to go ahead and loosen this Velcro strap here. And that'll allow us to take our floor post out. Now I like to tip my cushions up so I have access to what I need access to. Before I put this down into an alternate bed, let me show you a couple things that are under here so we can see. We do have a charging station here, 12-volt accessory port with 2 USBs. We've got a 110 outlet, and we also have your LP alarm down here at the floor. Test that periodically. There's a little test button on it. And make sure it stays in working condition. It's going to protect you if you do get a LP gas leak. So we're going to take our tabletop, and it's going to sit right down in this free space. Then we're going to take all of our cushions and we're going to fill in the rest of the space with our cushions like that to make our alternate sleeping area. Now the opposite will be just taking all this back up, but before I put it back into a table position, I want to show you what's underneath some of the compartments. So on this end, it tells you it's not a storage compartment. That's true, it's not. But there is some stuff in here that you may want to know about. There are going to be a lot of wiring connections in here. There's a fuse in line on your battery separator here. And then there's also your Happy Jack control board all the way down there at the bottom. It's kind of hard to see, but it's going to have a handful of 25 amp fuses on it. Yep, right there. And you may want to keep some spare fuses for that, just in case you do have a fuse blow for one of your power jack legs. So you can pull that out, put a new fuse in, and keep going versus having to manually crank things. On the other side, we're going to have a compartment access door. Inside the door, you can store a little bit right here in front, but the biggest thing is going to be our battery disconnect switch in the corner there. Pulled out is going to be connected, in is disconnected. So anytime you're using the camper, you're going to want that pulled out. If you're going to be putting it up for storage, winterization, not going to use it for a couple of weeks, something like that, push that in, and that will disconnect your batteries. Now, if you need to get to your batteries, this panel doesn't have a thumb hole in it, so you can open this up and push in from the inside to get into it very easy. And inside, you will find where your battery is going to be mounted. Battery is going to be inside this box. It will be screwed closed. It does vent out the side of the camper over here. And it will be equipped with a interstate battery It's going to be a regular lead acid, so you will have to pop the caps off of those, check the water level periodically, and you'll want to use distilled water to top that battery water level off as needed. These two little access ports right here on the wall are going to be for plumbing access. Shouldn't really be a lot of need to get into there. So to put this back to tabletop position again, we're going to take our tabletop off. And we're going to get our floor post. Now this can go in either direction. It's the same, whichever way it goes. It's just going to fit right down into the floor. Then we're going to take our Velcro strap here. Strap this on. Pull it nice and snug. You want to make sure that's not going to move around too much. Then we can go ahead and fit all of our cushions back in place. The two long ones go on the ends. The short one goes in the back. Like that. And then tabletop can go on. Now the tabletop has a slide on the bottom of it. So you can slide the tabletop in and out to give yourself more room depending on where you are sitting. But you can put that on and then you can slide this back and forth so you can get more floor space or have more seating space, whatever works for you. Now, over the dinette, you do have a storage rack up here that you can put stuff on just for storage. And we're also going to find your smoke alarm up here on the ceiling. It's going to have a 9-volt battery inside of it. Just pop it open, test it, and replace the 9-volt battery as needed. Overhead, we've got your Dometic air conditioner. Just a couple things here. You've got vent flaps here that can be open and closed on the sides, the ends, and then the big chill that blows straight down. You also have filters on this that pull out from these graded sections, one on each side. They're going to have a little thumb insert right here. That needs to stay pointing down because if you put the filters in on the wrong side, they get very difficult to get out the next time you need to gain access to them. So make sure that that is pointing down. And when you clean these, just use warm soapy water, let them dry completely before you reinstall them. And when you put them back in, they should go in very nice and easy. There should be no shoving or anything like that. If you force them in and they get hung on something on the inside, you'll damage them and then you'll have to get replacements. Power distribution panel here. It's going to have all of your 110 circuit breakers and 12-volt fuses in it for powering basically everything in the camper. It's a good idea to keep a variety of fuses, 15s, 10s, 25s, 20s, all that good stuff, 30s to have on hand in case you do blow a fuse. You can replace it and hopefully everything will keep working for you. Refrigerator operation, to get into it, we're just going to push up on this little thumb latch right here and pull the door open. And inside the bottom section here is going to be your refrigerator, and this will be your freezer up top. Operation is going to be 3-way. It's going to have 4 buttons on it. Up top here, we're going to have your main on-off button, which is all that's going to do is turn the unit on and off. If it is off, there will be no lights. If it's on, you will have some variety of lights up here. The next button is going to be basically your DC button. So if you want to operate this refrigerator on DC, you're going to push that, and it's going to turn the DC light on, and that's all it's going to do is operate on DC mode. We don't usually recommend DC mode. It is more of a maintenance mode to maintain current refrigerator temperature, and we do see it be very hard on batteries on campers and tow vehicles. So we recommend auto mode and letting it do its thing between AC and gas mode. Now, right now you can see we're in auto mode and it has chosen AC as its power source. Since we're in auto mode, if the power went out, it would automatically switch over to gas mode and keep everything nice and cold inside as long as you have LP gas open and ready to go and you have good 12-volt batteries on board. Now, if you want to manually force it to gas mode, you're just going to push the switch in between the auto and gas. The gas light will be the only light on, and that will be gas only mode. That is the only mode it's going to operate in. Now, there's a little light right here in the middle that says check. If that comes on, that's to notify you that there's been some type of operational issue. Sometimes it's just because there's air in the LP gas line and it needs to be cycled off and then back on. And if you go through a few things and it still continues to come on, it may be time to give your service center a call. Last little button up here is going to be for our temperature set, 1 through 5. 5 being your coldest, 1 being your warmest. Just cycle through, set the temperature where it works for you. And that's going to bring us up into the bedroom area. Up here we do have your Dinette vent fan. Just cranks open. You can open that all the way up. We're going to have a temperature knob on the side over here, so it can be thermostatically controlled for temperature. And then we do have your fan speed selection, no fan or 1 through 3 for speed. And it's going to be a one-way fan. It's going to pull air out only. So if you crack your windows open in on this thing and turn it on, it's going to move quite a bit of air. Now these lids are equipped with switches, which means it will not run when the lid is closed. So if you just leave it turned on and close it, it's automatically going to shut off. Now on this side over here, we're going to have your king jack antenna. So this has an attenuator knob on it. It's got an on-off switch on the side here. All the on-off knob switch does is turn on and off the lights. The attenuator knob here is going to try to boost the signal. We're looking for as many blue lights as possible for signal strength. And then we can push this little button in right here, which then allows us to rotate our antenna to try to boost our signal. Now, that antenna is controlled by the booster plate behind your TV. So to gain access to this, to see, we're going to swing this out. You just pull this little tether down right here. This will allow our TV to swing out, and it can swing around so you can watch it at the table over there. But all the way over here at the top is going to be our booster plate or booster panel. So this is where our antenna feed is going to come through right now with the green light on. That's going to allow rooftop antenna. So this button right here, if you turn that off and that green light goes off, that means your rooftop antenna no longer has power. It's not going to work. And if you hook up to your exterior cable port, you should get a cable feed through that. Now this connection here says satellite on it. So if you hook up to your rear satellite connection, your exterior satellite connection, this end's going to hook up to your satellite receiver, and then your satellite receiver should plug directly into the HDMI port on your TV. Now this TV is 12 volt powered. This is going to be your 12 volt accessory port for it. We do have a 110 outlet down here so you can plug in your satellite receiver. And we do have another charge station down here with a 12 volt accessory port and two USB chargers. So the last thing up here in the bedroom is going to be our 2 lights at the head of the bed. Just have that little black push button on them to turn them on and off. And then we have our fire exit window in here. To get this open, we just have to pop this red handle up, and then we can push this out. Now you can prop this out for ventilation as such. If you need to use it as a fire exit window and crawl out, you're going to pull down on these 2 little red tabs up here at the top of the screen. It's going to allow you to pull the screen off, and then this window will actually push all the way out and allow you to crawl out of it if you need to. To close it, just pull it back in and latch it back into place. All right, guys, that should cover everything on the inside of our Lance 825. All right, guys, I hope that shows you how to live the Lance life. But if I've missed anything, don't hesitate to give us a call, text us, email us. And again, this is Cody with Princess Craft RV.